Hello and thanks for joining us for this week's second edition of the news on DBS TV. In Cameroon, an interministerial delegation led by Paul Atanganji, Minister of Territorial Administration, in Kumba to evaluate the security stakes of the region, 72 hours after the killing of some school children. Dispatched by the Prime Minister, head of government, under the instruction of the head of state, the delegation, including Nalova Lyonga, Minister of Secondary Education, and Professor Laurent Serge Etundingwa, Minister of Basic Education, have paid a visit to Mother Francisca International Bilingual Academy, the school where the incident took place, and equally to the bereaved families. Away from assessing the security measures in the aftermath of the event, they consider strengthening the security system around the schools and sensitive public buildings, which may also be the target of terrorist attacks. The 7 children were murdered last Saturday by unidentified men who invaded the school in Fiango, Kumba. Dozens of other children who were seriously injured are currently receiving treatment in various health facilities of the town. The killing, which took place last Saturday, October 24, has drawn widespread condemnation from the civil society, political class, diplomatic missions, as well as the international community. Fear and panic have once again gripped the southwest region of Cameroon, this time around in the city of Limbe, the Ombe area, and supposedly other localities of the region. It is rumored that new school incidents have occurred, causing students to rush out of school campuses for the fear of the unknown or even of the known. Amateur images show students and pupils screaming and trying to escape from their various schools, jumping from fences and trying to find their way home. Parents can also be seen rushing helter-skelter to get their children and rush them home safely. Witnesses say gunshots were heard in Ombe, a stone's throw from Limbe, and notably Government High School Limbe, leading to the panic. The chaos spread to other schools from which the students were evacuated. However, no human loss has been recorded as of the time of the delivery of this report, and thus there appeared to be more fear than harm at the time. People all over Cameroon have been protesting the cruel assassination of innocent school children in Kumba, leaving families and Cameroonians grieving. In Bamenda, in the early hours of this Tuesday, October 27, women staged a protest march to condemn the killing. The women came out in their numbers, marching through the Bamenda Commercial Avenue, holding peace plants and chanting songs of mourning. Other peaceful protests have taken place in Kumba, where the tragic school attack occurred, adding to the ones of Yaoundé and Douala respectively on October 26, 2 days after the attack. In Douala, for instance, a group of women marched to the littoral governor's office, all dressed in black in mourning of the slaughtered young Cameroonians. Many and different as the women are, their objective is the same: the end of the Anglophone crisis and the return of peace to Cameroon. Reactions following the Kumba massacre continue to pour in from all parts of the country. In Gaoundéré of the Adamawa region, school children in that part of the country condoled with their peers who could not have the privilege to study like them in Kumba. They began the day, October 26th, by observing a minute of silence for the peaceful repose of the souls of those innocent children, victims of a godless act at Mother Francisca International Bilingual College in Kumba. An exercise with the regional delegate for secondary education, Hassana Matthias, witnessed.
Our students have passed 1 minute of silence for those who have been killed in Kumba on Saturday. When I saw it, I don't know how I can tell you what I'm feeling in my heart. It is a difficult moment. A difficult moment for our students and for all the nation.
They took time to explain the situation to the students while assuring them of their security, as forces of law and order on campus are there for them. At Lycée Classique et Moderne de Ngaoundéré, it was at 10 a.m. that they observed a minute of silence where everyone, even passers-by, had the chance to grieve with them. The English subsystem of education in Kribi, Ocean Division of Cameroon, has come into question amid many other issues encountered by the secondary education sector. This came under the lamplight during a 3-day working visit of the South Regional Delegate of Secondary Education in some schools of the town. The delegate, Mrs. Mbita Micheline, while visiting the schools, was exposed to some hard realities of the educational milieu, which entails the shortage of learning materials for technical and commercial students, especially in view of preparations for upcoming examinations. The problem of bilingualism was also enlisted, as some school staff and authorities complained of the insufficiency and inadequacy of bilingualism, and notably of the English language in administrative and pedagogic procedures.
The main point was that point of prepare our kid or our student for the next year exam coming, concerning those students of accounting section, and even our teachers of Anglophone part section, because we are having problem in this side of country, because here there is a French part. Concerning what they call in French les inspecteurs. Yeah, when inspectors comes, English teachers, what I'm trying to say, English teachers don't have most of them the inspector. So when they go to the meeting, they cannot really catch what the French inspector are saying. That's the main point we are talking today with our boss, to ask her if please in the next meeting coming, if can they send us English inspector for our English teachers.
The visit began in the government bilingual high school Kribi, where the delegate frowned at the catastrophic result in the last probatoire day exams. She later proceeded to some lay private schools, where she emphasized on the quality of infrastructure and syllables. The working session that kicked off on October 26 was equally marked with the entire education family observing a minute of silence in memory of the students assassinated in Kumba on October 24. Out to Africa, nearly 7.5 million Ivorian citizens are called upon to cast their ballot in the upcoming presidential election on Saturday, October 31. Voters have up to late Friday to withdraw their voters' cards, as only 40%, less than half of the registered voters, turn out to pick up their cards. It seems to be explained by a call for boycott or civil disobedience launched by the opposition coalition. The Independent Electoral Commission announced on Monday afternoon that only 3 million registrants have equally recovered the voters' card and at the end of the distribution period. According to the Secretary General of the FPI party of Pascal Affi-N'Guessan, Isiaka Sangeri believes that the Electoral Commission has inflated this figure. The opposition say their call for civil disobedience is peaceful and democratic. The goal is neither to attack anyone nor to destroy any property. But the Independent Electoral Commission recalls that the cards will wait for voters in the polling station on the D-Day, and that the number of 22,000 polling stations remains unchanged, contrary to what President Alassane Ouattara announced in an interview with a French weekly. With only a few days to the election, protesters are ramping up pressure on President Alassane Ouattara to quit the race. The opposition is angry that the president is running for a third term. Ivory Coast is yet to fully recover from a civil war which ended in 2007, in which at least 3,000 people were killed. There are also fears of post-election unrest similar to that in 2010 when thousands were killed. Mali and France are disagreeing over whether to talk to jihadists to end the Sahel State's 8-year insurgency, with French Foreign Minister Jean-Yves Le Drian ruling the option out. During a news conference in the capital Bamako, Le Drian distinguished between engaging with armed groups which had signed peace accords and terror groups. His visit marks the first by a French politician since young army officials toppled President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta on August 18. The reason for his visit was to establish a relationship of trust with the new authority, Le Drian said. His position against dialogue was shared by United Nations Security Council and the G5 Sahel countries, a regional anti-jihadist force which includes Mali. Malian officials have provided few specifics about what kinds of compromises could emerge, but some proponents of neighboring countries have said they could include recognition of a greater role of Islam in public life. Mokhtar Ouane, who was appointed Mali's interim prime minister last month to manage an 18-month transition after the August 18 coup, said on Monday that his government was prepared to pursue talks. In Rwanda, Félicien Kabuga, who is suspected of financing the 1994 Rwanda genocide and evaded arrest for over 22 years, is one step closer to facing justice. On Monday, he was moved from France to The Hague to stand trial. The United Nations International Residual Mechanism for Criminal Tribunals said in a statement that his initial appearance will be held in due course before a judge of the trial chamber assigned to the court. After noting that Kabuga had evaded arrest, the court recalled the charges of genocide, complicity in genocide, direct and public incitement to commit genocide, attempt to commit genocide, conspiracy to commit genocide, and extermination and persecution as crimes against humanity. Kabuga is accused of having helped create the Hutu militia group and the radio television Libre des Mille Collines, whose broadcast incited people to murder, and of helping to buy matches in 1993 that were distributed to genocidal groups. His lawyers initially asked that he be put on trial in France, but late last month the country's top court ruled that he could be transferred to the UN tribunal. Over to Europe, thousands of Italian protesters angry about new restrictions announced to control the spread of coronavirus clashed with police in cities as European governments toughened their responses to the contagion. In the northern city of Turin, some demonstrators broke off a peaceful protest, smashing store windows on an elegant shopping street, setting smoke bombs and hurling bottles at police in a main city square, where the Piedmont regional government is headquartered. In Milan, several trams were vandalized and beams were set on fire, while anti-riot police fired tear gas at groups of young people throwing glass bottles, with similar scenes found in neighboring southern Naples. The scenes of unrest came after Italian Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte ordered that restaurants and bars be shut down from 6 p.m, while theaters, cinemas and gyms were ordered to close for a month, much to the annoyance of business owners, opposition, politicians and even some scientists. In the United States, senior Republicans confirmed Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court by vote of 52 to 48 along party lines, securing President Donald Trump's nominee a week before the presidential election and what is likely to be a conservative court majority for the years to come. The ceremony at the White House comes after a similar event was linked to a COVID-19 outbreak that preceded Trump's own infection. Barrett will succeed Liberal Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who died last month. Barrett took the oath, the first of two, in front of Justice Clarence Thomas as Trump watched on. After the ceremony, President and Barrett appeared on the White House balcony with Trump applauding his choice. Barrett is 48 and her writings against abortion and a ruling on Obamacare show a deeply conservative thinker. Chief Justice John Roberts presides over her separate judicial oath at the court this Tuesday. The rift between France and Turkey continues to widen as protests grow, calling for a general boycott of French goods. Turkish President Erdogan has given his word in support of the growing call for the boycott. Their point of discord is that French President Emmanuel Macron has refused to denounce the controversial cartoon depicting Prophet Muhammad. It should be recalled that a few days back, a French teacher, Samuel Paty, was beheaded for having used a caricature of Prophet Muhammad in class. According to French authorities, this is freedom of expression, which Islamic faithful see as a sign of blasphemy to use any depiction of their founder. In response to the tide of events between Ankara and Paris, France has called home her ambassador in protest, accusing Erdogan of failing to condemn the murder of a French teacher. Meanwhile, the protest is taking another turn in the murder of protests as growing beyond Turkey. In Bangladesh, protesters describe Macron as an enemy of peace. Commercial centers in other countries like Kuwait, Morocco, Algeria, Palestine and Jordan have taken measures to boycott French products. France has criticized the move, asking it to stop, with Macron insisting that France will not give in to pressure. That marks the end point for today's news. Thanks for watching. Have a great evening.